getting inside it and looking at the machinery and efficiencies that can be obtained there. Oskar, if you'd like to come and tell us something about that.
Yes. Thank you. I also put a little bit similar slide on this topic and what is really shipping and environment. So I will not go into it, but more saying that there are a lot of issues. And to, for example, calculate EDI with is maybe not doing the best job, and it's a little bit more like a speed limit at sea. And it might work for some ships, but is it correct for all type of ships, like short sea, ro-ros, and ferries? I mean, if you limit speed and the installed power, it can be hard to maintain a good itinerary. So there are many things we need to remember on this. As mentioned, on sulfur, we are going to go down in sulfur limit. I will come back to this a little bit. And NOx emissions, we are at tier 2 level today, which is done with engine technology. But when we go in 2016 to tier 3 inside emission control areas for new builds, it will mean that we have to drop the NOx level to a degree that we need to bring some new measures to the engine design or after treatment. But if we go back to this CO2, which is one of the things, I tried to a little bit picture what is important for what is really driving our strive for efficiency. And we have a lot of these incentives coming from the regulation and EOI and some thing. But in my view, they don't really drive for very high efficiency, and they don't really influence the ship owner's choice very much. What is really the big decision that I feel is fuel price. This chart, I hope you a little bit disagree with it and it challenge your thinking and might drive some discussion. But I mean, I think these incentives are a little bit late. Fuel price is doing the job for really pushing us for more efficient ships. And actually, in many cases, even the sulfur emission control areas is doing more on pushing for real environmentally friendly ships in the sense of you need to reduce your fuel consumption when your fuel cost goes up. Green values are positioned there, you might see. I don't think industry really pay a lot for just being green. We improve efficiency when it's cost efficient. And if you look at a ship today, I mean, fuel cost today, most of the cost today goes to fuel. So there is an incentive to try to reduce this piece of the pie. This cost structure would have been quite different 10 years ago. And if you look, this is a chart just showing example. What will happen now with the sulfur emission regulations coming in place and the NOx? You can say that the NOx really doesn't impact the ship operating cost very much. But the sulfur, that's the big thing. That's the challenge. And already now in 2015, for a ship operating inside emission control area, you will have a 50% increase in your voyage cost, unless you do something. And this is something that I don't think many owners will just take happily. So something needs to be done. There's a lot of things that we can do, of course, there. But it's certain parts of the shipping. And worldwide, it's coming a little bit later. But then there are other segments of the shipping that is basically already operating on the clean fuel, and there the impact will be much less dramatic. This is a slide that I usually show in some places, and I've seen similar ones as well. If you look at shipping, I mean, traditionally it was sail, then came the steam engine running on coal, and then the diesel. There was always a transition area. I think today we are at the beginning of one of these transition areas. And in the future, we will see a much more diverse fuel palette. It will not be one fuel as it's today. Today it's been 90% heavy fuel. In the future, we will have a much bigger mix of different fuels. And especially the three big ones will be diesel, heavy fuel, and LNG. And it will be driven a little bit by regulations forcing us to do something, but it's mostly the choice will, at the end of the day, be cost-driven. And I think we will not only see a big difference between what is the right choice will not only depend on your ship type and so on, it also depends on where you operate. Because certain fuels have quite big regional differences. For example, if you look at LNG in the USA, it's extremely attractive compared to heavy fuel. In Asia, the picture is a little bit different. So, summing it all up, not to consume too much time, I think really the shipping approach to environmental challenges, it will be comply with so that you are approved, but in the most cost-efficient manner, because at the end of the day, it's the money that determines the right choice in many cases. So this hopes a little bit stimulate also discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much.